Welcome to the Agree to Disagree podcast. I'm your host, EmpireJeff, back with another episode, along with, once again, DJ Deadeye. We had the trade deadline today. Super excited about that. Tons of stuff to go over. We had like some things popping off early, extra early. And so it was like an early gift there. So what's going on, Deadeye?
Good, man. It was a wild day. I started last night.
Yo, I was watching Sports Center. Just kind of recapping like the Laker trade, and just kind of other things they were talking about. Kyrie had his first game yesterday. Was checking all that out, and I was just like, man. And I was literally like turning off the TV, and I was about to put my phone in do not disturb mode. Like my phone was in my hand, and I saw like Woj and Shams both popped up at the same time, and I was just like, oh man, look, it's pretty late. And I went, flipped down, I saw that, and I was like, that emoji, you were like, the eyes were just like popping out. It was just like,
Yeah.
I was like, yo, wow. I wouldn't say like I'm shocked, but I like, there was part of me I thought would go to the off season.
Yeah, I thought they were, after the Kyrie thing, I thought they were retooling a little bit, but they were just like, nope, fire sale.
Yeah, like I didn't expect it, but in hindsight, right? So kind of like when Kyrie's mom put out that press release about how they went to the Nets with their contract, I wouldn't say demands, but with their proposal, and then they leaked that and nothing came out. Remember, like about midday yesterday, we started hearing that teams around the NBA weren't trying to help Brooklyn, making it harder for them to keep Durant, right? So, and then all of a sudden, that new owner comes out in Phoenix. He has his press conference, and that dude just hit the ground running, right? And then, boom, just pops off. And I'm just like, damn. I mean, you even hit me too. So you were up. Like you 3 hours later than me, and you were up. So I was like, man.
I was up. I mean, I knew shit was about to pop off at some point. I didn't know it was going to be KD like that, but I knew.
Yeah, we lost him there for a second. But so that kind of threw me off. About to go to bed. I was too tired to record, but then kind of too hyped to go to sleep. So let me let that back in here.
Yeah.
All right, got you back in here. So
I knew that it was too quiet, so I knew at any point something could pop off out of nowhere. And I knew there was a bunch of names mentioned, but then I feel like once the Durant domino fell, like teams were like, all right, well, time to go, because a bunch of stuff happened today. I think as a result of yesterday,
Yeah, I mean, I think you see like a lot of what's up, DJ Lakers at 5. I see you. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. Great content there. Fun panel. So like when that went down, then because we already had the Laker trade, and that was big, like from a standpoint of Lakers being like just trash the rest of the season, like not even worth watching. To okay, now maybe they can move up, maybe they can get 6, 7, 8 playing, whatever. They got a lot of ground to make up. But I'm gonna get to that trade in a minute. But definitely KD is the biggest one. So that one was
KD shoe. Once that dropped, I felt like teams that were hesitant to make moves were like, all right, it's go time,
And it's funny because we had talked about that back in July, back when we did like the free agency special, right? And we were talking about that. And it was the same thing, right? We were talking Kyrie, we were talking KD. Both of us pretty much felt it was Phoenix then. He pulled back his trade demand. Still ends up there because like that framework was still pretty much there.
Yeah.
So they kind of just revisited.
And the fact that the Suns was like hovering around like 500,
Yeah, so they had to do something. They did give up all their wing defenders, so they're going to have to be really aggressive in the buyout market. But I think the part that's getting slept on, and you mentioned this when we talked last night, is they also got TJ Warren back in this deal. He's that dude's a bucket getter. So they get him back.
And they got like they got a great 5, but they don't have any bench depth like at all. So we'll see what the buyout market brings and what some of these teams have to to use.
Well, they're saying Reggie Jackson might be heading there, and they still have Cameron Payne. Can't stand that dude, but he gets buckets too. So they still have him.
I heard about the Jackson situation there too. I'm eyeing the John Wall situation too.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? There was the Clipper fans were making a really big deal when they got him. Like,
they thought
like they stole something. Yeah, and then before nothing, he was just like sitting, and then they were just like leaking left and right that they didn't trade him. They were going to buy him out. And they found a trade, and now he's going to get bought out. And I don't know where he goes, but
I feel like Phoenix or somewhere out west. I don't really see him out east, but I see him out west at some point for somebody who needs a point guard or just some points off the bench.
I'd probably take Reggie Jackson over him though. Just for
I definitely would take Reggie Jackson over
so
him,
Phoenix has their choice. That's probably what they do. So there's that trade. We could probably do a whole podcast on this trade because it really just shapes the whole landscape of the NBA. The West is stacked now.
Yeah,
because
it's funny.
like
The West was whatever, like literally like 2 weeks ago, and then now it's like now they're back like super powerful again.
bro, like Sunday morning. Like I was sitting back. Everywhere I've been saying like no one in the West scares me at all. I've said that repeatedly. And now there's some boogeymen out there, man. Like there's some stuff to be scared of.
That top framework's definitely going to change within the next 3 or 4 months, like crazy. Like I see like Phoenix moving up, Memphis moving back. Lakers are going to be up there. I don't know about Portland like that, but I know Mavs are going to be moving up. So that's just about to get crazy up there. I still think Denver's the best team. But that remains to be seen for the rest of the season.
Well, I think they were definitely the best record, right? I still wasn't really scared of them prior to the trade deadline.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say they were scary, but I think they're the most complete team in the West right now. But we'll see what happens with a lot of these trades and a bunch of the buyout stuff.
Yeah. So when you get to that, so Phoenix does their move, and then you see kind of Clippers were probably like, oh man, really? And then Denver, like I said, who's been at the top pretty much most of the season. Memphis.
I feel like Memphis was like, oh hell no.
Well, they got a shooter. They made that. They got Kennard, right? So
they got Kennard. And they got rid of who? They get rid of?
Let me pull this up here because there are so many things flying off. Like
I know it happened. Like there was literally nothing for like hours, and then after the KD trade, it was like 50 trades.
Yeah, so they were part of the 3-team deal, I think. I think they had the Rockets one, right? They were part of the one that got Gordon.
Yeah.
So Grizzlies just got Kennard. The Rockets got John Wall, Danny Green from the Grizzlies, 3 second-round picks from the Grizzlies, and rights to the Bucks pick with the Clippers in 2023. And the Clippers got Eric Gordon. So Eric Gordon, they've been trying to move him for like a year and a half. They just couldn't get that first-round pick. And, but like when he moved, so the Clippers are interesting because it was a 3 for 3, right? So you move Reggie, you move John Wall, and you move Luke Kennard. Reggie has been pretty solid for them over the last couple of years. Kennard is a sniper. He's been, he gave them an element out there that can just drain shots from 3 when other guys are getting covered. So they lose one of their, if not their best shooter. Wall they weren't playing. Yep. Reggie, I was watching that game last night. He just seen his body language. It looked like he just felt he was getting traded, but he's had some big moments for them over the last couple of years. So moving him, so you get rid of those 3 who have been.
I think Gordon makes up a little bit of what you lost with Kennard, but they still need a point guard, which I think I'm hearing about Westbrook there. I'm hearing what's the other guy?
Well, they got Highland. So, but he's just not.
Oh, okay. They got Bone.
They got him, but I still think I still think they're gonna look at. I think everyone's. I could be wrong here, but what I'm thinking is I don't think. I just for some reason I can't see Russ fitting there, but he still might go if his family wants him to stay in LA. So I think if he goes there, that
Paul George is pushing for him to be there because of their connection in OKC.
Yeah, no, I know he's pushing it, but I don't know if so. Russ may want to go to a situation as unlike the Lakers situation. He may want to go somewhere where he can, I can see there being problems there. Yeah, play, be on the court, be a positive influence, and not come off the bench and be blamed for everything. I think like a OKC, even a Miami situation with less attention. Or Chicago, because I think Russ, if you're a team that's close to a play-in, he can help you get there and maybe win a one game. You know what I mean? If he's not, third, fourth option. If he's one of your top dudes. And he's not trying to really fit in, just let him play free. He's much more effective. So that's why I see the Clippers thing. And I think the only way he goes there is if he just wants to stay home, because I think it's almost as bad as it was with the Lakers if he goes there. So I think So I think of like the playoff teams. I think Miami's a better fit for him. But we all know there's no way in hell he's playing 1 second in Utah, let alone maybe not even a press, probably not even a press conference. So
who got Conley? Minnesota.
Minnesota got Conley. So on that deal was kind of interesting, right? Because that Utah deal had been on the table with the Lakers since the summer. Danny wanted that pick. We knew he wanted that pick. He just was sitting back. Shout out to Rob, man. Rob Pelinka was extremely patient. He was getting dogged in the media, dogged on social media, dogged on TV, just left and right. And he didn't care. He just stood pat, did the deal he was waiting on. That deal was there. They probably wanted 2 picks. I can't believe they got it done with 1 lightly protected pick, 1 through 4 in the lottery. So that's a good come up. And the only way I could see it is like, okay, Utah's going to be probably looking at give or take about 60 million in cap space. He's got 15 unprotected or lightly protected firsts over the next handful of years.
Over the next 6 years.
Yeah. And clearly Minnesota clearly knew what D'Angelo wanted to get paid. They didn't want to pay that, or they didn't want the year. So they said, we'll get Conley, who has got 1 more year if they want to. I think he's got a $14 million option that they could, so it's, you get that. You've got him locked up, for 1 more year. You don't have to worry about paying him additional. And he kind of gives you leadership to what Pat Bev brought last year without the craziness. He's more steady. If healthy, you don't lose too much because he's a good player. But I was shocked that the Lakers got that deal for what they gave. So that was
the amount of stuff they got was definitely surprising, considering they really didn't have much good assets to use besides like the picks and a couple of the random guys.
Yeah, and they got 3 starting level players. Vanderbilt most likely comes off the bench, but he's solid. You know what I mean?
They got a few. Though every guy they got from Minnesota is like a solid player. You know what I mean? Like a real NBA rotation guy.
Yeah. So there's that, and then that trade. When they did that, it kind of knew you got Vanderbilt, you got Gabriel, who they want to give minutes to. You got AD. Thomas Bryant hasn't been playing too much lately. He doesn't defend well.
They got rid of him, no?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting to. And then he doesn't jump very well. He's good offensively, but it's just clogs up the middle, doesn't move very fast. So he had hit a really good year offensively, and he's probably priced himself out to what the Lakers were going to pay him. And the Lakers seems like they had circled everyone that they knew they weren't going to attempt to re-sign. They moved. They got back pretty much the picks that they gave up to get Rui a couple of weeks back. And they got a guy they could put at the end of their bench. But it's that was mainly moved to just get Brian out the way, get those picks, and then they turned around and moved Pat Bev and a second for Mo Bamba, which is an interesting trade because he's gonna be counted on a lot. We need a steady backup big, and he's a big dude that can stretch the floor, block some shots, get some rebounds, and now he's playing. He's gonna be lobs from Braun, D'Lo, having AD's back over there. So
if you don't play good in LA, he's a bust.
Yeah, because he hasn't played great. Yeah,
he got a bunch of
in Orlando.
Big dudes that's gonna get double teams, and he's gonna get some wide open stuff. So if he struggles there, he's done.
So and let me get back to this one.
I'm not sold on him either. In the West, the bigs are versatile. There's some like stand under the basket dudes, and then pretty much anybody else is like a stretch. So I don't really know how his defense is. I haven't watched a lot of Orlando Magic games, but he's going to be counted on to play different type styles of D. So,
yeah, I think he's just a more versatile Thomas Bryant, I think is what they were kind of looking at. They felt like they were trying to upgrade that position, and Bryant wanted out. He wanted to play some.
He wanted more bigger role and shit.
Yeah. So they honored that. So what do you think of? So let's how I talk about how the West got better. Seems like the East got worse. You got both KD, Kyrie out of there.
I feel like you just Brooklyn's out of the picture
for sure.
I don't really know what to make of Philly. The Celtics just beat them yesterday with 4 missing starters.
Yeah, that was just weird.
And Philly at full strength.
Yeah, and they just moved one of their best defenders, right? They moved
Thibault because he can't play with Joel because they need more shooting around him, and he can't shoot at all.
Yeah,
So
you lose one of your best defenders there.
the East definitely got worse, and I don't know. To be honest, after that game against the Seas, I feel like Cleveland's better than Philly.
I think Cleveland is very good. I just think they're a year early. I don't know. I don't expect too much in them playoffs. They could probably get around. They play great defense. And
I think in the playoffs they're gonna make some noise because they don't got to play back to backs. They don't got to do all that wild traveling. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they're gonna their half court stuff is gonna be some problems for some teams.
No, I like them. I just think they're a year early. But
for sure,
they can scare someone. They can cause some damage.
But I'm just not confident at all in Philly. Like besides Joel, like they really have nothing. Like you really cannot count on Maxey or Tobias Harris to do anything. You know what I'm saying? And Harden's natural born choker.
Natural born choker. You know what's interesting though? I was double checking that Nets roster. And
they got like 18 wings.
But they do. But you know what? If they get someone, if
they got a squad.
Yeah, if they get someone, if they get someone outside of Boston and Milwaukee in the first round, I think they can put some fear into people. You've got some bucket getters on that team. You've got some good defenders.
I think they could be good. I think they could be really good. I mean, they're going to be hard to score on. You know what I'm saying? Not that they have they still got Claxton too. So they got Claxton and they got like 800 wings. And then they got the guard play is not going to be that good because Simmons is trash and Curry is not really like a ball handler like that. So it's going to be a lot of Patty Mills and who else they got really at a guard position.
In a guard position, they got the guy who's had the ball in his hands, Cam Thomas, has been getting busy.
Cam Thomas, yes, but he's like a 2?
Yeah, but as far as he's having the ball in his hand, so he's operating like a guard, right? So he's
more of like a guy that can like bring the ball up and like run some offense.
Patty, Seth Curry technically can, but he's looking for a shot.
Yeah, he's more of a catch and shoot, not a dribble, penetrate and kick kind of guy.
Dinwiddie can get to the
Dinwiddie. That's who it is.
He's
going to run the point. Yeah, Dinwiddie's going to run the point, and then they'll probably have Patty come off the bench, and then Seth Curry be the starting 2, and then they got fucking a million wings. So I think they could be all right, yo.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's like that team. It's like the team that was there before Kyrie and them got there when they had Karis LeVert and Dinwiddie and a couple other dudes.
I saw
Jared Allen and stuff.
I heard on the radio. I remember who it was. I think it was someone on NBA radio, and he called them. He goes, before they traded away the tryhards. I was like, that's a perfect way to label them, because that Brooklyn team was scrappy. They played hard. And it's like that's kind of what they're getting back to now. And
they won a series with whatchamacallit. Who's the coach? Hollins?
No, wasn't that Kenny Atkinson?
Atkinson, that's who it was.
Yeah. So they
won a series that year. They won a series. I think they were like the 6th seed and they beat somebody.
Yeah, he was the guy that quit because they tried to make him start DeAndre Jordan over Jared Allen. Remember? And he's like, I'm not adding this to my resume. That's not happening.
Yeah, facts.
he did not want to let that happen, at all.
And now he's in Golden State, right?
Yeah, he's in Golden State.
Yeah, he's gonna probably take over for Kerr when he's done.
Yeah, I mean he's the associate. He's like the head because he's
like the highest paid assistant or something in the league or some shit.
Yeah, he was, because Mike Brown was like his top dude, and then when he left to Sacramento, then Atkinson moved up into that role.
Yeah,
but it's So we get through that trade. What do you think of the trade that is interesting? I think this guy helps this team. This guy's not someone you put on any team, and he can really take you to the next level. But it's a guy you've watched play a lot when he was with you guys. Crowder to Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's big because they're trying probably not to play a lot of Jared Allen, and they need a guy who can kind of sort of play like Middleton a little bit. Not that he has the mid range game like that, but he could defend and he could shoot threes and he could give you some offense. So
would you say Jared? You mean Grayson Allen?
Grayson Allen.
Because I thought I was seeing something wrong. Okay, yeah. So it's
Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen. My bad. I know they don't want to play him like that. They wanted to trade him, or shit, probably even release the motherfucker.
That dude's always trying to hurt some damn buddy, man.
Yeah, but I know that they didn't want to play him like that. And with the loss of DiVincenzo last year, they probably wanted to get a 3-and-D type, you know?
And they moved, so they got him. They moved off George Hill again. I feel like George Hill has been moved from the Bucks like 3 times. He just goes from like the Bucks, the Pacers,
San
Bucks,
Antonio.
Pacers.
San
So
Antonio.
yeah, he just goes back to the same teams, huh? So so that, I mean, in the East, like I said, I told you I was looking at Philly's numbers and they're pretty impressive when you compare like how they're playing to the actual stats.
Whatchamacallit, in a vacuum, they look like they're super contenders.
Yeah,
but
I
you
just
watch
can't
them
trust them.
play. You watch them play, especially against the C's yesterday or whatever it was 2 days ago. And it's literally like Tatum was like carving them apart with just dribble penetration, 1-2 dribbles, kick out, boom, wide open 3.
Yeah, I can't trust. I just don't trust them. Like I want to. This year was the closest I've gone to like, okay, maybe.
I knew I couldn't trust them even from this year because like I'm like, who did they get? Like, how did they upgrade? You know? And I'm like, yo, they got James Harden. I'm like, to me, that's not really an upgrade because their problem is they have Embiid, unstoppable, you know, super duper duper star, right? But they got a bunch of other guys who can't hold their own against other stars / superstars. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, cool. You got one guy that can do his thing, but none of these other guys can guard Tatum. None of these other guys can guard Giannis. Like none of these other guys could guard KD when he was in the East. So I was like, what is, you know what I mean? What is the trade-off here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you basically just traded away your best defender too. So
yeah, I just never was sold on them to be like better because like I'm like, where did they get better? Who did they get? They're just expecting for Maxey to step it up or expecting Tobias to live up to his contract. You know what I'm saying? But it just ain't happening, you know?
Yeah. And like I said, I've been fooled by them too many times. So taking them out the picture, so let's say I think Boston and Milwaukee are equal. I think they both have equal chance to get to the finals.
For sure.
Having said that, we just talked about Milwaukee's deal. I like their deal better than the Celtics deal. To get Muscala. Let me tell you, for someone who's been a team who traded for him at a trade deadline before, he was one of those guys who could shoot. And the second he became a Laker, he couldn't shoot at all. So it was like you know,
who's the guy for us? Neesmith was that for us?
Yeah, in college he was killer. He was draining everything in college.
Killer sniper and all that. And then as soon as he got to the C's, he became like a Grayson Allen type, like a hustle guy. Like we're like, hell no, we're straight with this guy.
And now he's draining them in Indy.
Yeah, because he's getting a better chance. He don't got no expectations. Like literally every shot the kid took and then he missed, it was like, get this motherfucker off the court, you know?
So no, I got you. So what do you think of that? You guys didn't really you guys didn't end up moving. I didn't think there was any fire to the smoke of people saying they were talking about Grant Williams. I don't think that came close. I think Pritchard had a chance to get moved.
Pritchard had a chance, and I think Gallo had a chance, but they didn't want to do that deal because, you know, I feel like he's been around the team all year, and they think they can get him either in the playoffs or definitely have him contribute next year.
Yeah, he's a vet. He's a good vet to have around.
They already traded. Basically, their deadline deal was done in the summer with Brogdon. You know what I'm saying? They got rid of a bunch of their firsts already with Al when they got Al back, Derek White last year, and Brogdon this year. You know what I mean? So, I think they were done in terms of the big splashes, and they had a couple of TPEs that they needed to get rid of before they expired. So the Muscala deal is kind of that. You know, they absorbed him into I believe the Schroeder TPE, and they still have a little bit left of that. They really could only do like these little small deals or the buyout market because of they just don't have stuff to move like that. You know what I mean?
Man, the buyout market is going to be nuts.
The buyout market's going to be nuts. But I like the Muscala move because they were talking about getting a backup big in case Rob or Luke or Al is out in the playoffs or later in the year, or a stretch wing that could help alleviate Tatum minutes and Brown minutes at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they addressed what they needed. They got a big dude who can stretch the floor, which is kind of sort of what Al does, you know. And they still have close to $6 million in TPEs for the buyout. So I think they got like 5.8 left between the end of one of the TPEs and then the disabled player exception for Gallo this year. So they got about $5.5 million to play with in the buyout market.
And like I said, this is typically, I don't put a lot of stock in the buyout market. There's some big names out there that were like former All-Stars, and when people get them, they think they're getting that version of them, and they typically
I feel like this year is going to be different.
This year's different. Yeah, this year's different. And I'm not saying all of them are going to hit, but I think you're going to see of probably traditionally there's like 10 guys. There's a pool of like 10 guys that people are going for. Then there's a secondary buyout guys.
Maybe 3 of them get placed, you know. But this one's probably like 15 to 20 guys, you know.
And probably like I would probably say 3 to 5 of them could have an impact in the playoffs. So
for sure.
I mean, that's the guys that did get traded, the guys that didn't get traded. There's a lot,
you know, because some of these guys got absorbed into teams that are in rebuild or trying to tank for the draft. So there's going to be a bunch of guys that are not going to be on teams like that. When's the buyout market start? Next week?
It's now. So the buyout market is now. So the way it works is anyone that is cut, bought out, waived from any time of the season up until March 1st. They have to sign with their new team prior to. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. They have to be released by their current team prior to March 1st.
Okay.
And then so if they
and you have to when to
you can sign them anytime. They just can't be released. Remember that time like.
But isn't there a deadline for you to pick up buyout guys? You can't just pick up a buyout guy like right at the end of the season, you know, type shit.
No, I think you can. They're just not eligible. You could pick them. So I believe, and I'll double check this. I believe the rule is they are not playoff eligible unless they're waived by March 1st. So
by March 1st,
yeah. So remember that year when Steven Jackson like got traded back to San Antonio and they told him, look, we're not giving you an extension. Just come here and play. Yep. And then he was like, he asked for the extension, and then Pop was like, all right, I told you. And then he released him after March 1st so that he couldn't play in the playoffs and come and burn them. So It was like,
I remember that.
Yeah, they did that. So so you can, there's guys you can sign that can help you get to the playoffs, but they can't play for you in the playoffs once you get there if they get released after March 1st. So that buyout market we're looking at about. Remember that now they moved the trade deadline up now prior to the All-Star break. So now it's like you get like 2.5, 3 weeks of a buyout market after the trade deadline as opposed to the normal 2 weeks. So there's a little bit more time now.
It's probably like
teams.
3.5 weeks, 4 weeks instead of the 2 weeks.
Yeah, for teams to figure it out. So we talked about that. So Muscala's gonna, he's a big that can shoot. He can stretch the floor. He doesn't have like a polarizing figure there in the brawn, like to feel that pressure.
The C's like to play. They like to play 2 bigs. So on days when Al don't play back to back, so he's gonna get a lot of burn in that. And whenever Al doesn't play, he'll be in there with Luke or with Rob. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where there's a guy down low and then there's a guy that can stretch, So
now
I think it's a good look. He's gonna get some burn. I don't know about playoff minutes, but definitely to get us to the finish line so we're not fucking gasping for air like last year. I think he's gonna help,
Well, if he's hot, if he's on a heater going into the playoffs, he's gonna play because a big that can stretch the floor like that,
he's gonna play. Really too is that there's a couple guys on the team that are, there were guys that were like, they started off hot and then literally like after the first 2 months, they like were like ice cold, like Hauser and a few of these guys that they're counting on to be the alleviators for a couple minutes for Brown or Tatum, because Hauser's basically a 3 or a 2, but they're not consistent. He's played good the last couple games again, but he's not consistent like that. So I think it's like insurance for that too,
Yeah, and another team in the East that I'm trying to find the details on this trade that is kind of wasn't talked about much, but this guy's a good player, and that was Sadiq Bey going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like I like Sadiq Bey. I was hoping that we could swing. I was trying to get a little greedy there, hoping that we could try to swing a deal to if we got Bojan, that we could find a way to get Sadiq, and that was
Yep.
he's not, a lot of people don't see him play. Yeah, a lot of guys haven't seen him play, but that dude can hoop, and he's gonna help them. And so Atlanta. I don't really take serious, even if Trey Young goes
I don't
dummy,
know. I don't really. I feel like once they got DeJounte, like I'm like, they should just give him the keys to that squad instead of Trey.
Yeah,
but
I like.
You know what I mean? It's on them. Imagine having Luka and trading him away for a guy that isn't even helping you like that now. Shit's crazy.
Yeah. Well, they thought at the time they had stole the deal, right? But
yeah, they thought they traded an equal for an equal instead of being like, nah, bro.
if I'm a GM and I draft a Euro dude and Dallas is calling for him, don't move him. Just don't move them because they clearly know what they're doing over there, right?
Yes, so, with the international recruiting.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know what deal like really threw me off? I know they were talking about it, but I'm thrown off, not that they made the deal, just thrown off for what they got back for it and what they moved them for. Was the Warriors moving Wiseman for essentially five second round picks. But here's the thing. This is the craziest part. They essentially traded him for GP2.
Yep.
Because they sent 5 second round picks to Portland for him. Yep. So you're essentially moved, and I get you weren't playing him. You would figure, I get it, but
he just wasn't. He wasn't gonna fit there because they're super screen, move around type squad, and he's like a stand in the middle type dude.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm not surprised that he got moved and that it wasn't a fit there. I'm just surprised there was another team out there that wasn't willing to offer up, maybe a better player or something like that to get him, like the Lakers. I mean, he would have been. I think he would have done well here. Like there's several teams that needed a big. Toronto, they're looking for these young bigs. They did the Pirtle.
Where did he go?
We'll get to that. He went to Detroit, which I think he's going to do great there. So
I mean, he got a couple guys that could feed him the rock. They still got a couple big dudes. They got Isaiah Stewart. They got a little.
When I say great, I mean he's going to get a great opportunity. He's going to play. He's going to get his touches. They're going to develop him. No pressure.
Yeah, he's going to play good too because he's going to have pass first. K's going to be feeding him the rock.
It comes back to like that. They got that second pick in the lottery the year after KD left, and then Steph got hurt. Right. So it's like you sacrificed literally that whole season. And maybe part of it was good that it was a rest year for Steph. Clay was out, Dre was out a lot. It was kind of like a reboot year after that 5-year run, right? But still, you literally probably kept Steph out, a little longer. You're in the lottery, and then you go through that hell of a season, and that's your pick, and you basically move the number 2 pick in the draft for. We've seen it before,
with a guy you already had.
yeah, we've seen it before. I mean, D'Angelo Russell got moved after his second year in LA. He was the second pick in the draft, and they essentially gave him. Well, at the time, people thought they gave him away, but we got Brook Lopez and Kyle Kuzma in that deal. And in hindsight, that's Lakers. That was a good trade. D'Lo made All-Star for the Nets. He had a good year there, and then the Lakers got Kuzma and Brook Lopez. But at the time, D'Lo's market value was down. Magic was talking trash, kicking him on his way out the door. And then they make that deal, and no one knew what to expect from Kuzma until Summer League popped up, and everyone was like, "Oh, we got something in this kid." And Brook Lopez had just barely started shooting threes that year before in Brooklyn. Like he was still playing as a normal big. And then he gets to LA, and he just raining threes everywhere, just shooting like crazy, right? So it was so that turned out to be a decent trade. So we've seen it before with a second pick in the draft. Teams punt on them early, but the Lakers got contributing players and quality starting level players back in that trade. They gave up on Wiseman pretty quickly, and I just feel like 5 seconds.
He didn't feel. I feel like they thought he didn't fit the timeline. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they would have took more of their time with him if they didn't have all these aging, win now type guys on the team.
Yeah, and Clay's starting. It looks like Clay's having a pretty good bounce back year.
Especially he's playing good now. He wasn't playing good at the start of the season at all. But he's starting to cook now though. Since the turn of since December to now.
Yeah, he's getting his legs back.
For sure.
One guy.
Every shot he was taking prior to him getting hot was hitting the front of the rim.
Yeah, he didn't have his legs. Yeah,
at all.
One guy I forgot when I mentioned the Clippers moves and the stuff that they did was Plumlee. I think that's
they got Plumlee from
Charlotte
Hornets.
So I think that's a solid pickup. I mean, that's your backup big behind Zubats. That's a good backup center.
Yeah, that's good. What okay, and they got Reggie Jackson in that, right?
Yeah, Reggie Jackson went there and they bought it, and they're going to buy him out. So they were just
surprised
getting
Charlotte
contract.
didn't do more.
Plumlee has one more year left on his deal, so they're dumping salary. You know, Jordan.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I think Charlotte could have did more. They could have got rid of more stuff and gotten more assets.
I think they were the holding pattern for if Utah didn't come to a deal with the Lakers. I think Russ was going to go to Charlotte and they was going to wipe their deck. Like there were scenarios where they you could get like 5 players from Charlotte for Russ. Like there were scenarios where that could have worked.
Yeah, it was like Hayward. It was
Rozier.
Plumlee was in play.
Yeah,
and
PJ
what's
Washington.
What's the kid? What's the idiot?
McDaniels or Oubre.
Yeah, Oubre. Who's the idiot that like punched the girl and shit?
Oh, that was Miles Bridges, but he's not even signed back there yet. He doesn't even have a team right now.
Yeah. I'm thinking
they want to sign him.
They're gonna re-sign him and try to move him or something.
Yeah, so there was scenarios with that where they were probably the backup team if that trade doesn't happen with Utah, because that would have been like there would have been almost no secondary deals with the Lakers, because it would have been like Russ, Bev, Walker, Jones, and JT. Basically every player that they moved out and separate all those separate deals combined with the Utah and Wolves deal, all those guys probably would have went to Charlotte and they would have got like Rozier, Hayward, Plumlee, and they wouldn't have to give up their picks either. So it was kind of like that was kind of sitting there. The Spurs deal was sitting there too, but the Utah deal was the best one, especially when it's only one pick and that lightly protected one. But let's see what else we got here. But just that Wiseman one kind of threw me there. Bones Highland, that was light too. Like this kid, that must have been how bad Denver just wanted to get him out of there. It might have been toxic in the locker room because they gave up what was that? I think it was just 2 seconds, right? Let me see.
Yeah.
Man, that's light. That kid's got.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's a mystery, because I thought that kid was pretty good for them.
Yeah, he's a hooper. Just can't find his time behind Jamal Murray. You got KCP. MPJ guys just with the ball in their hands.
Yeah.
But it's just. I mean, he was an all rookie. Second teamer last year, right? I think he was averaging double digits. I know it was under 15, maybe around 10. I think closer to 10. He was averaging. Like he was playing pretty well. Now the Clippers are just running out of pretty much. You know what I find interesting in all this, and I haven't heard anyone like bring this up yet, but it's going to be real interesting moving forward. Is a lot of these teams out west don't have their picks now, so it's an even playing field. Like the Suns no longer have any picks. The Lakers don't have one more pick they can move before 29. The Clippers have like nothing they can move. The Warriors, I think, are still somewhat positioned there, but it's just I'm talking about like the now trade market out west is if you have. That's what I was saying. Like if the Lakers went the Kyrie route and they have no more picks and they only have 3 guys with of like substantial money and contracts, and they can't really when it comes down to trading anything, you have to move one of those 3. You don't really have anything else to move.
Yeah.
So now
that's
the
what's
Lakers
going to happen that's what's going to happen to the Clippers.
Yeah, that's what's getting at. But the Clip will maybe as it gets there, because you still got Marcus Morris, you still got Covington, you still got Powell. Kennard was one of those deals you can move. Reggie Jackson was one of those deals you can move. They moved both of those. They got a guy back in. We'll see how Bones plays, and we'll see how Gordon is going to get a year older. You're not going to get a ton of value for him. Plumlee will have value next year. But what I'm saying is they cashed in some of those cards that they were keeping in their back pocket, and now it's gonna be interesting because now they don't have a lot of avenues left either. No one talks about that. They just act like the Lakers got to get this right. They don't got any other moves to make. And the Lakers, I feel like, made a better deal than the Clippers made. But
I feel like overall they made better deals, but they're also constructed already better, so they probably didn't have to do as much as the Lakers needed to like get rid of
that's facts. But now moving forward, the Lakers have multiple pieces that would be valued via trade, whereas before they did not. So
Not
and they're
absolute.
and they're positioned very well for the offseason. You know, D'Lo's a free agent. Beasley has a team option, so you can either opt him in and move him, or opt him in and keep him, or just opt him out and let him walk,
Yep.
or resign him for less.
Yep. They don't got to pay Russ.
Yeah, they don't got. And Vanderbilt has 1 year left, but you could get a first probably for him the second you decide to move him. He has value. So you know, Reeves has value. Christie has value. Literally everyone on the team has value. We know Braun is not getting traded. AD not getting traded. And now everyone below them, you really didn't have a ton of value there. Now you do. So now, I'm gonna say this a couple of times, and I just shout out to Pelinka, man, because I feel like I've been defending him a lot because I just let him work. Like he hasn't really had a chance to make up for the Russ trade, but everything he did prior to that was really solid. The Russ trade,
he didn't even want Russ. Fucking
no, I know, but he gave his star what he wanted, and sometimes you got to protect them from themselves, and he did do the deal, so it goes on his resume, not Braun's, officially, you know. But at the same time, everyone knows like that wasn't his like preference. Buddy Hield, which is his former client, like he had that lined up and ready to go, and then you know, and Braun and AD get Westbrook to come by the crib, and before you know it, that blows up. And you know, I remember we gotta always have at least one Ed reference in one of these, right? So I remember Easy hit me when we hit me up right after the Russ trade, and he's like, so what you think? And I was just like, I don't know. Well, you know, I don't know. We'll see. And he's like, doesn't sound like you're very happy. And I was like, I really don't know. I couldn't really process it because I was like, you know, you get enamored with the name, and you hope that when a guy that you get that's still playing well, he had a good year that you know, in Washington prior to that.
Yeah, he got them to the playoffs, no?
Yeah. But he notoriously starts the season slow, then catches fire, and then he had a really good finish to that year in Washington. But it just, I don't know if I ever bought it would be a fit. I just didn't think it would be that bad. You know what I mean? I was
I knew it wasn't going to be a fit with Braun on the court at the same time.
Yeah.
But I thought they could work some staggered minutes or something in there, but it just never materialized.
I just feel like had they like maybe brought him off the bench right away, you know what I mean? Like maybe that could have salvaged last year, but it was just going off too far, man. So it was
it's tough, man. He needs to have the ball in order to be effective. And when you got Braun and AD, it's just, you know, you're not gonna get the ball, my dude. Like it's just not, you know what I mean? Like, especially if you're not doing what is needed to be done in order for those guys to be effective, you know?
Yeah, you just need Braun needs I don't even want to say a special player, but a player with a special mentality. Like people can bash Bosch and bash Kevin Love all they want, but they had the perfect type of mentality to play that third role.
Moldable players and the guys that are versatile. You know what I'm saying? But
and selfless.
Not every player,
because they sacrifice their numbers. But
they also have the skill set to be able to change into whatever the hell Braun needs. Some of these guys that he asks to play with them just don't even have the skill set to change like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Sometimes they are what they are, and LeBron tries to like force them to play how he wants, and they don't have the capacity to do that. You know, it's not a knock on them. It's just that their style of play doesn't work with LeBron. You know what I mean?
I feel you. Got someone saying should have moved AD street clothes Davis. That's my cousin. What's up, Steve? Should have moved AD street clothes. Yeah, I mean, they're not moving AD.
I don't see that happening because LeBron can't carry the squad dolo, so he needs AD. You know?
Yeah, and they had to move Bryant. They weren't going to keep him, and I think like I said, they lost Malik Monk for nothing, and I think they learned if they're going to be like this team that gets these guys in to build the value up, they've got to get that player can't just leave and get value in return, right? And get their money, and the Lakers get nothing.
And he was literally the best player that played with LeBron because he was the one that could change his style to adapt to LeBron, what LeBron needed.
Yeah, no, he played.
He was like the only guy. He was like literally the only guy on that team last year that could play how LeBron needed guys to play.
Yeah, and the thing is Bron is not going anywhere, and as long as Bron is here, AD's not going anywhere. So even if you were someone that wants Bron or AD gone, first of all,
what does AD have left in years?
saying he's lined up with Braun. So he signed a 5-year extension after they won. So 21, 22, 23. He's got 2 more years. I think the 5th year is a player option. I'll double check, but I know he has at least for sure 1 more guaranteed year.
Okay.
If not 2, that I believe the 5th year is a player option.
Player option, yeah.
Which means he would probably opt out and extend, or whatever it is. But
yeah,
those guys,
I don't really see them letting him walk out the door like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's agents in the building. So if he's unhappy or anything, then they would move him to get value. But I don't see AD going anywhere because it's just unless the Lakers pretty much don't want him. He's going to get the most money staying here, and they've got time. They've got time to get stuff back together. See, when we got AD, there was hope that he would be the guy as Braun declined. But I'm just
he would take over. But it's just he's not that player. He's not. And that I just player.
Don't know if he's just not that player playing next to LeBron, because when he was in New Orleans, that dude, I mean, he knocked out Portland by himself. Like he was that dude. But I think he defers too much.
Again, does his skill set link with LeBron's needs? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, can he change his game to be a piece like Bosh? I don't think so.
Well, Bosh was the he's not. That's the third option. He's in the Wade role,
what I'm saying is like he had to switch his game the most. Same with Kevin Love, and he could adapt to Braun's game and what the team needed. I don't know if AD is that versatile to be able to do that. Yes, he's gonna get his 20-something and his double-digit rebounds, but are those numbers helping them win the way LeBron needs him to play? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just he needs a spot. See what AD is probably the best player Braun's played with.
Yep.
But the thing is, or most skilled. I don't know whichever way you want to phrase it. Maybe both, right? I
feel like D Wade was the best player, but because he was the most versatile and things like that. But I think the potential of AD is bigger than the potential of D Wade and them.
I guess what I'm trying to say is the best overall player. When you compare when you mix offense and defense in together, I think he's the best player he's ever played with. But my thing is that if he would recognize, if he did what Wade and Kyrie did when LeBron needed a breather, or just he's on the court, maybe not on the bench, but you need to buy him some time. Now go get yours right now. Like AD needs to get that ball and just live at the line and like just go aggressive, go hard.
You don't want to get banged. You want to shoot jumpers. You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like about the adaptable skill set. Like he should be able to know. Okay, well, Braun's out of the game. The down low is wide open. Let me go do my thing. Get to the line. Whatever. Get some and ones, like easy baskets. But I feel like he's just like, nah, I'm not trying to get hit. Jump, 18-footer that is not really gonna do nothing for nobody. You feel me?
Yeah, dude can't stay healthy. He doesn't help.
Take a three where he hits the front of the rim when he could just go down low, get hit, and go to the line.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess there's kind of 2 parts to this, right? And Steve, I see your point, but it's just you've got to still bet on a talent like that. I think if this trend continues the next year or so,
I wouldn't trade him. Or yeah, I also wouldn't give him the keys to the franchise either.
Yeah, I think he's lost his chance with that.
I think he's lost his chance with that too. I think he could be really good he could be better with Braun, but they need somebody that can shoot as good as Kevin Love. That way, or Kyrie, that will unlock AD a little bit more, because he won't have to try to take those whack ass 18-20 foot jumpers that don't help anyone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and if you remember that AD that we saw at the end of October and early to mid November, like before he got hurt, that was one of the best stretches we've ever seen him play. Yeah. Like he was slaughtering people, and like if we could just, but then he got hurt, and now it's like now he's scared of contact. So I don't know if he's getting to the point where he's trying to like make sure he's healthy for the playoffs, or he's trying to turn it on after the All-Star break. I don't know, but we need that AD now. Like we absolutely need that AD. But
and like you can take jumpers, but take some effective jumpers. Like get down low, bang a little, and fade away jumper. Maybe 10 to 15 feet instead of 20 feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but do the
if you want to shoot like jumpers, then at least shoot effective shit. You know what I'm saying?
Dude falls down after every shot. He's on the ground more than a breakdancer, bro. Like
for sure.
He's a chill with that.
I sent you that Avion Crockett video, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, see, I got my fragile thumbs or something, whatever the
fuck. Yeah. Like I want AD to redeem himself. He's been, even before he became a Laker, the dude was just too good of a player to be remembered for like not playing. I think people need to definitely remember his skill set, and I hope he does enough to show that. So that's
it's tough because he's getting older, so
he's 29 though. Like he's still,
I know, but he's still he's like a 39, 29-year-old.
Yeah. I think that time in New Orleans when he was carrying the load, I think that took more toll than people think too.
I think it's just the amount of injuries is just, that shit takes a toll, man. Especially when you're that tall. He's had like foot shit, leg shit, back shit. Like those aren't good injuries,
Yeah, I tell him all the time. I always joking around that AD was walking around the court like a pregnant woman, like most of the first half of the season, like holding his lower back, like.
Yeah.
But anyways, I we'll move on from the Lakers now. I think was a sneaky decent deal. I like this guy. Was hoping the Lakers might had a chance to get him in another deal, and you've had him before too. But I've always liked his game. He's a good two-way player, and the Pelicans got Josh Richardson, and I think. He's a solid player to have on a team. He's KCP like, Yeah.
I like him too. It took him a minute to start fitting in Boston when he was here, maybe like a month or two. But once he got here, he was definitely a difference maker.
Yeah, I mean, when he was in Miami, he was one of probably their best two-way player before they before they made the move for Jimmy. He was a really good player.
But then he went to Dallas after that and was trash.
Yeah, he didn't fit in Dallas. I feel like he went to Dallas, and I think people forgot about what he was everywhere else.
That's why we got him for so cheap.
Yeah, and then he played better with you guys, and he's been solid on the Spurs.
He was solid in Boston and in San Antonio for sure. And like real talk, they didn't want to get rid of him, but they were like, "Yo, we need this guy. We need Derek White's skill set. Plus, he's locked down for I think he was on like already like a 2-year deal or 3-year deal." So it was just like, it just made more sense for security and money wise, and just
that Derek White deal was great for you guys. I mean, that was you have to do that deal if you have a chance to get Derek White. If you're a team that believes you're competing for a championship, Derek White's, the Josh Harts, like those guys, you want them on your team.
And they're difference makers, man.
Yeah, they're difference makers.
Even last year, we don't get to the finals without him, and then this year, like he is he's literally the reason why we stay afloat without Marcus.
Yeah, no, he's a solid pick. I mean, anything you get from him offensively, especially from shooting, is a bonus. Mm-hmm. But he does that. But let me see what other deals we got going here. But Josh, I think Richardson is gonna be a good fit there.
I like Josh Hart to the Knicks too. That's a good deal.
I love that pick. I mean, I love that move. And now maybe we'll see Cam Reddish play now, right? So we'll see what
where'd he go?
He was in that deal for Josh Hart.
So he went to Portland?
Yeah, he went to Portland. So they sent they sent they sent Cam Reddish and a first to Portland for Josh Hart.
Yeah. And real talk, the Knicks are gonna be heavy players in the summer for sure, because they got all those picks, they got money. They're gonna be heavy in whatever deals for whatever stars are out there for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, the Knicks the Nets a pretty good present, because the Nets have made themselves a non-desirable situation now with that owner, I think. So the Knicks
yes and no, because like those two guys, KD and Kyrie, are like just weird type superstar type guys. Like, I don't know, like the ego is like through the roof. So I feel like if you're a player that's not on that type of level, as long as they have a competitive squad of scrappy players and they got money, they'll be a destination.
I just
I don't see it, but I don't think like big heavy hitters like KD, Kyrie types.
I think they lost their chance there. So the thing is with them is they're Joe Tsai's already he's got some issues. People not liking him because his off the court, his outside business and stuff. So that's already kind of a problem for some people. And then you add this in there now, and I just think I don't think they'll get like a mega star like that again, a superstar like choosing them over the Knicks.
They might get it later in not right now though, like not in the near future. You know what I'm saying?
I say 3 to 5 years. So that's what I'm saying. I think the
Probably
Knicks have their chance.
3 to 5, where it's like it blows over. You know, like look at the fucking Clippers, man. Nobody wants to go there because of what's his name, Sterling and shit. And then they got rid of him, and then next thing you know, they got 2 crazy wings, and now it's a destination and blah blah blah. You know?
Yeah. So
it plays out. It plays out. It just it takes a little bit.
I think there's anything that I left out here. We talked about Thibault, Grizzlies. Okay, we did that. I want to talk about. I want to talk about the.
What happened?
Go ahead. Finish your point.
I mean, not that he moved the needle at all, but I like Pat Bev in Orlando.
Well, I don't think he's staying there, bro. He's definitely getting bought out. No, I think because that team is scrappy and they've beaten some good teams. That's what I'm
saying. Like he would fit there like on some Minnesota last year type shit.
They're just not going to make the playoffs. I think he gets bought out. A lot of people are saying he's going back to Minnesota, but I've heard a few people say that they're not interested in him. So I could see maybe he's definitely not going to the Suns, because Chris Paul. Maybe Dallas is sitting there needing some defense.
He would actually be good in Dallas.
He'd be good in Dallas.
Defense, Kyrie.
Clippers, maybe. I don't know if the owner's happy with him or not, but he's played there before. They need a point guard. But when I think of Pat Bev, and I think of like teams like you've got Cleveland already, the best defense in the league. You add someone like Pat Bev there. If you've got Dallas, if I'm him, I really really look at Dallas.
Pat Bev.
So Pat Bev. I think that would be his best option because they need defense. He would get minutes because of that.
Yep.
And Luka's going to miss games, and Kyrie's probably going to miss games. So you have your shot there. But the one I want to talk about is the one that was kind of all smoke, zero fire outside of they got someone. They didn't give away really anything crazy, and that's Toronto. So they could still theoretically make the playoffs and be a little tough. You got Van Vliet, Gary Trent Jr., Siakam, OG. Now you added Portal.
They're gonna make some splashes in the summer for sure because they're gonna do some signing trades for sure.
Yeah, so sure in the summer, but I think this year, kind of like Brooklyn, if you catch them in the first round, they could be a little problematic. So
for sure that team. I hate playing that team. That's one of the teams I hate playing. Is Toronto. Who's the other squad, man? That's like that, like Detroit's like that. Like, yeah, we beat them, but like they're just scrappy. Like they don't go away. Orlando, like they're just one of those teams like that. You know what I mean? They match up good with the C's.
Any team that plays free is dangerous. And if you get a team in the playoff
any team that plays free and has like wings that can defend or down low stuff.
And it's extremely rare that you get a team that plays free that get to the playoffs because a lot of times those teams don't have superstars. But if you have a team that's in the playoffs playing free, they can be dangerous. But it's just hard for them to make it. So say Knicks are like the Cowboys. It's always next year. Next year they're winning the chip. Then at the end of the season, they're just not in the conversation. True. But those are two really big brands.
Yes or no. I wouldn't put them in the delusional state of the Cowboys anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Knicks fans just expect them. Like the Knicks fans bash the Knicks. We suck. We can't do nothing. Like it's always.
It's just that's what it is. The fans fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know why they think they should just be super relevant all the time. And it's like you guys don't take the steps to do that. That's why you're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you guys just try to sign names and think like it's just gonna transfer over, and it just doesn't. You know what I mean?
They just got the worst owner in the now.
They got the worst owner. They definitely have the worst owner. They have the wackest expectations. And even their upper management guys haven't been great.
And they fixed that. They brought in guys that were supposed to be pretty decent.
And they have cachet in the league as being like dudes who can get the job done. And they kind of been whatever. I mean, yeah, they got Brunson and Randall's playing great, but the rest of that team isn't that good. RJ Barrett's okay, but
Well, RJ, I mean, I think when they were doing that
He was on
Donovan
the
Mitchell
move,
trade.
and Obi Toppin too was on the move.
Yeah, but when they were talking about the Donovan Mitchell trade, and he was looking, and I was like, see, RJ, I feel kind of bad for. He was overshadowed at Duke because he was playing with Zion, right? Yeah. Then he comes in, but if you look at his numbers, like in the watch he's playing, he was going on a heater for a while. Where he was just draining every.
Sure. He got good numbers. He got good numbers. I just don't feel like his game is like it hasn't grown like that.
He hasn't evolved much, but his first 2 years in the league were better than Donovan Mitchell's first 2 years, like numbers wise. And I'm just like, and I was like, okay. So the thing is, but is it because where you're at, right? Is he Tibbs is not a great coach for guys like him, you know?
No, he's a defensive coach. He has like no offensive cachet like that.
Like, could you imagine like RJ like on the Clippers with someone like Ty Lue? Could you imagine him like? I wouldn't even say to like the Lakers because Darvin Ham.
I mean, RJ on the fucking Cavaliers.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he was on a team that didn't have like Thibodeau, I think he'd be much more valuable.
RJ on the C's would be killing it because he'd get mad wide open shots.
RJ on Utah, I think Danny wanted him. You know what I mean?
Because
sure. But I just think that's a kid that's wasting away.
You can still get him.
He could. And he just signed his extension, right? So he's locked in for
he's primed for a signing trade, man. I think in the summer there's going to be a lot of movement, just like it was this year at the deadline. I think a lot of teams were just like, all right, we're trying to tank or we're trying to win, like right now, you know?
Yeah. So your chemistry is off in New York. They're a team that doesn't look like they're having fun when they play. Well, when you have a ball dominant guard.
I feel like half of the team likes playing for Tibbs and half of the team doesn't like playing for Tibbs.
Well, you got a couple things, right? You're playing for Tibbs, which is tough. And then you got two ball stoppers in Randall and Brunson. I like both players, but if your two best players are Brunson and Randall, you're not really going to get very far. And they both, once they get the ball in their hands.
Brunson moves the rock at least a little bit more than Randall.
The
ball just sticks there and that's it, you know?
And then no one wants to move. So it's like, I agree with the chemistry part.
Shoot a three or try to break somebody down with no dribble skills.
He just Randall is, I think, one of the worst. It's funny because it got him paid, so it's one of the best things that ever happened to him. But I think one of the worst things that happened to Randall, and he's an all-star. He's an all-star, but he's an all-star. But what I'm saying is, I think it might have been the worst part for him being taken serious because he's going to have that good player on a bad team kind of vibe around him. And I feel like if you had Randall on he would never work on the Lakers again because of Braun, and you just clog the middle and he needs a ball in his hands. But you put him in like a team, you let him come in. If he was your guy off the bench coming in and in stretches and just going in there, if
he was the third option in Dallas, perfect.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's from there, so my thing is like, but having him as your first or second option, I think that's one of the worst things for his career because you have the expectations, and he makes an all-star level because he's putting up numbers, but he's just not. He's not that dude, and I like Julius. I always have, but
he's like the third guy on the squad. He's not. He's not a
2, let alone a 1. So that's it. So I think
even Brunson's like a 2-3. He's not a 1. You know.
No, he's a 2-3 for sure. Very, very good player, bucket getter for sure. But yeah, if he's your best player and Randall is your second best player, you don't have. I mean, look, I'm here. My team. I'm sitting here with LeBron and AD as my 1 and 2, and we're 13th. So it's not like I'm in a position to talk trash. But I don't think anyone in the world would take Randall. Yeah, would take Randall and Brunson over Braun, and you know what I mean. So it's like, that's where their problem is. They need a legit number 1. If you had Brunson as your 2 and Randall as your 3, then you can get to a conference final. You probably don't have a chance to win a ring, but that city would be buzzing. And Knicks make the Eastern Conference Finals, man.
Oh my God, yeah,
that'd be great for the league, man.
They win one series, it's fucking insane.
Yeah. And I know you go at it with a lot of. I know you're out there, so you know, being on the East Coast and all, you go back and forth with Knicks fans. But I think we all agree when the Lakers, Celtics, Knicks, Philly are like all good or all relevant or all in the playoffs at the same time, like the league is just better. Chicago too. It's like when those teams
and even a team that's not one of those major cities like a Houston, when Houston's good, the league is in a good spot. You know what I'm saying?
And it's because the fan bases are engaged, and those are like the non-fair weather cities. Those they have, and these are the guys who rock for their teams even when they suck. And it's just like, and it's like, so those fan bases, you know, look, we're not entitled to anything, but those fan bases do deserve to see their teams in the playoffs, but their teams just aren't doing their jobs
all day. Yeah, the front is not holding it down, and You know, they're not drafting well and shit like that.
Popped all of them here. George Hill back. So yeah. So I think when you look at it, obviously, I think the best trade of the deadline for this season alone, like I said, a couple years out, you know, that Phoenix trade of not having picks, KD and CP3 being older. But I think for this year and possibly next, they definitely, you know, topped the list as obviously is the main headline train. Kyrie technically, but it wasn't today. So I'm just saying trade deadline.
Yeah. KD and Kyrie were definitely the two big splashes.
Yeah, I would say KD, Kyrie, and I think the Lakers are right there at third with what
the
they
Lakers,
did because they've changed their whole team.
They're definitely in the top. They're definitely in the top 5. The Lakers. They made on paper made all the right moves.
Yeah, I think the Clippers moves are interesting. The Clippers, it's always right. I think it could be tremendous or horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
think Utah is killing it right now. I don't know how the hell this dude got all them picks and all that money in not even one season as the fucking GM. That shit is crazy.
Well, I mean, he got rid of 2 All-Stars, so you're gonna get picks with that, right? And then
yeah, but he also he's the one who set the precedent for all these 5 seconds and 5 firsts and all this shit this season, you know?
Yeah, no.
Nobody was trading that. Nobody was trading that much shit until they cracked the safe, you know.
At the end of the day, I know Danny will just stand in the third, but same for my thing with the Celtics. I know a lot of Laker fans hate the Celtics. They talk trash about this. So I'm not that Laker fan. I respect good organizations and I respect longevity in this league. And this man has been in the league, been involved in the NBA since the 80s. And yeah, maybe he said some wild stuff. He's done some wild stuff. But a lot of people have. And at the end of the day, he's a rival, but he's also helped us on 2 trades recently. So at the end of the day, he didn't Kevin McHale us. Now what Kevin McHale did in that KG situation, which benefited you guys, that was trash. You know what I mean? Because you have a GM who's refusing to deal with the Lakers simply because they're the Lakers. So I do give Danny respect for the fact that he's done 2 deals with us and he didn't try to fleece us on either one. It was a legit.
Danny don't care. Danny don't care about that stuff.
No, it's not because he's doing his job and that's why he's still in the league and what's his name? McHale isn't. You know what I mean?
McHale went from being a GM. McHale went from being a GM to going back to a coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can't operate like that. You can't not make a deal that's better for your team simply because you were a rival of that team when you were a player. You get what I mean? Right. So I think what Danny did, that's why he's still in that league. And I think when you in the league and still doing his job very well. And when you, like I said, he's done 2 deals with the Lakers in which both teams benefited on both trades. There was no one fleecing anyone, and now they have a relationship there, so that they'll do more deals again. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's it's a good thing to have when I got. So it's let me see one more comment here. Warriors missed the splash by not getting a big. They traded a big too. That's all I missed.
They don't operate as a team that. They don't operate as a team that cares about a big. You know, they've been treading fucking Draymond Green out there as their big for years and getting away with shit because they got the best shooter ever. Yeah. So I don't think they operate.
Looney's solid.
Looney's great. I think Looney's amazing, but he's
so
not
appreciated.
He's not really like a traditional 5. You feel me?
Yeah, but he he rebound. He's a big body. He's
He's dope. He's the dirty work dude. He's like Draymond's like, nah, I'm gonna chill over here at the 3. You go down there and do your thing, you know?
Yeah, no doubt.
So he does the dirty work. He does everything they want. He sets all the screens for these guys. He's amazing for them. But they don't operate their organization with traditional bigs in mind at all. That's why Wiseman didn't work, and they didn't want to waste no time to develop them because they're like, dude, your skill set is just not what we need at all, you know?
Yeah, they do get killed on the boards, and they'll probably get a guy in the buyout market. A lot of these teams have things lined up already. They're talking to these agents. They know who's getting bought out, and a lot of these trades happen.
I don't think they go anywhere this year, though. I don't think they go anywhere this year with Steph hurt.
Well, if Steph comes back, here's my thing. I was saying this. I couldn't put money on a single team in the West prior to the trade deadline, probably other than them, just for the fact I didn't trust the other teams, and they're defending champion, right? But since these moves got made, but I still say if you have a healthy, and this is a if you say with the Lakers, if healthy, but the Suns got to have a healthy Chris Paul. If you have a healthy Steph, a healthy Clay, who looks like he's getting there, Dre is engaged, Poole if they're in rhythm, and they've got the chemistry. You know, we got to see. It's got now. Devin Booker's shots are going to go down tremendously. Chris Paul, I don't think cares about his shots, but his touches of dribbling the ball, and he likes the ball in his hand.
The shit is that he might get more shots because they're gonna be double teaming KD. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I get it, but he might not be in his spots where he wants. He may not get the ball where he wants it. Like they're gonna have to take some time to figure some things out too. And they're all gonna have to be playing defense heavy, especially until they get some other bodies in there.
The thing with both of those teams, the Suns and the Warriors, is they have no benches. Neither one of them. And the Warriors haven't had a bench all year, and it's showing. You know, it shows that what their record is. You know what I mean? So
well, they've got a top heavy bench. They can't go 10. They can go 7. You know, 7 or 8.
Yeah,
but it's like,
even then,
you got Jordan Poole, you got Poole off their
bench,
Kuminga off their bench. You've got he's not getting a ton of playing time.
They're not effective guys like that. You know what I'm saying? They're not. It's not like, oh, now they got Gary Payton the second back and shit like that. But
yeah. And TJ Warren is going to help Phoenix's bench too.
Yeah, TJ Warren will help them for sure. But again, they need more. I feel like both of those teams need way more guys off the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So all right.
Because like maybe they can afford to put a starter on the bench in Phoenix because they got KD now and Booker. You know what I mean? Maybe bring a bench guy into the starting 5 and put a starter on the bench so you have at least 2 guys that can run the offense and shit. You know, who knows?
Yeah, and I can see them getting like 3 of the legit buyout guys. Like I can see them
for sure. Especially now that KD's there, a lot of these guys are gonna be like, oh, I'm joining them. You know,
yeah, I gotta ride the wave. So, but
sure.
All right. So I think we touched on all the deals here, for the most part, for all the important ones. Went around the league there. So it's exciting. We got some games tonight. The Browns not playing tonight, so the Lakers are probably going to lose another game, which is going to put them even further back. And they're looking at
that shit's crazy.
Pretty good run of trying to catch up with these games. So I definitely want to watch this game.
They got to start playing more games and winning more games in order to start making a real push here. You know, I know the break's coming up, but I think they need to get some wins under their belt before the break.
Well, I saw a crazy stat yesterday, and I think this is a major problem that's been corrected. And the Lakers have had 28 games in which they've been within 5 points with 3 minutes or less in a game. 28 games. That's a lot. So they're not getting blown out. They're in every game. Of those 28 games, Russ finished of games in which Russ was on the court at the end of those games, they're 9-13. And games where Russ was not on the court at the end of those games, they're 5-1. So addition by subtraction there.
Yeah, that's what Windhorst was saying today.
Yeah, so it was so that's a crazy stat. So if that trend continues and now they have other guys there, then they can go on a pretty decent run. They're only a couple games back of.
I feel like they need a few weeks to a month to get their chemistry / like how they're actually going to play together. Tight setup, because I feel like even when Braun takes over and is running the team, they're still not winning.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they need to work something out to where it's not so Braun dominant. It's more like 50-50 with KD, with AD and him, and then maybe a third guy off the bench or starter that has high teens numbers, and can help them defensively.
Yeah. So, so today starts. None of those players are there today. We're down a lot of players. We have no Braun. Yeah. Saturday is going to be the day. It's an ABC game versus the Warriors. Got some new players in town. It'll be live.
They're gonna have new players. Yeah, it's gonna be live. It's in Staples, my bad, Crypto. Or
it's at Crypto.
Okay, word up.
So all right. So that'll do it for this episode. We'll be back in probably a few days to go over and see how some of these guys are doing on their new teams.
Yep.
And kind of recap it from there. So once again, thanks for checking out on behalf of DJ Deadeye and myself. I am EmpireJeff. Thank you for tuning in. Agree to Disagree podcast.
Peace.